today we're going to debrief about Jenna's video, and so I want to review the norms of the group. We meet here at Sleepy Hollow High School as a group, and we post the video 3 days prior to the meeting. And I'm going to ask you to, can you set the context for the lesson, Jenna? Tell us the age level, grade, and what part of the day, and any unusual circumstances about the lesson, the day it's videotaped.
Sure. So this is a 7th grade science classroom that is co-taught with me and a special ed teacher, and the students, particularly in this class setting that we saw, are they used to be in a self-contained classroom. So this is their first year out on their, like, integrated with other students. So it's a very high range of low functioning and high functioning students. And it was in the morning. Did I say 7th grade? They're about 12 years old. Do you need the topic too?
Just the topic. Yeah.
Okay, cell transport.
Okay, and did you have any question you wanted us to focus on when we watched the video?
Just how well they're engaged, if they're actually like doing the task at hand, and if you think that they were able to rate their understanding of the station, or if it was just like an extra task that I shouldn't have included in there.
Okay. All right. So now at this point, we're going to fill in the observations that we made when we watched the video. Okay. Now we're going to go around and we're going to, including the person who did the video, we're going to give Jenna some warm feedback, and then we'll do the cool feedback. And after that, we'll have you respond. Who would like to start? We'll start with warm-up feedback.
Let me just get my form. Sorry.
I just lost my form, but I liked how structured the start of it was, going through, and there were many stations they went through, more than just the usual. I usually do like 4 or 5, maybe 6, but there were many stations there, which is difficult for a lot of kids in destined times. And you had it very well structured. You had them know what they were doing before they left to go about the activities. You modeled it beforehand, and you sort of asked them, well, if you started at station 12, which one are you going to next? So the directions were very clear before they got to it, which I think helped the management of it after.
I think it's interesting. I didn't know that some of these children, it was their first time into a collaborative classroom. That was their first step, and you couldn't really identify who is a child with an IEP versus who's a child in a regular ed classroom, which is nice for them to feel and see. I liked how the kids actually were moving around the classroom. It's so nice to see them moving and learning, that kinesthetic stuff. The co-teaching is clear that you and your co-teacher, you finish each other's sentences, you jump in comfortably. You guys are really one unit in the class, so that's really nice to see. I loved how you had the timer in the background, and I don't know if everyone saw it on the big screen, so it was able to help keep the kids on track and pacing. Even though you told them the time limit, it was nice that you also gave them the visual. I think that's, and then I'm not going to repeat some of that Alex shared.
And I had a lot of the same comments. It was nice to see that while you worked with the co-teacher, it was almost as if someone walked into the classroom, they wouldn't be able to tell who was the lead teacher in a sense. And you all waved each other well, which would imply that you have a good rapport with your co-teacher. I liked how the students working in groups, that you couldn't, like, I don't know how you organize the groups, but they seemed to be sort of evenly mixed in a sense. Like they weren't, you couldn't tell which group was previously in a self-contained class and who wasn't. It was every student sort of, it seemed like they were working well with the people that they were working with at each stage.
I really like your use of real-world examples, such as tea bags. You know, how many of them can tea? Gummy bears, and the analogy of running up and down a hill. which would need energy and which would be, which would be passive, which would be active. That was a great analogy, I thought, so that you visualize it. The questioning was good. I really liked the sentence starters you gave them, or whether they understood. And I really like the idea of having them rate their understanding, the metacognition. And I'd love to see student work to see how, how they actually did on that. And nice to have students who understood it to explain it to the class. So that was a nice feature too. Does anyone want to add anything more to the warm feedback?
I like the structure towards the end of how they posted things on post-it notes. I think that was really creative. And giving the guidance of the sentence starters, but also with things that I don't understand, and then also the kids who are more confident as well. So it wasn't just things that they don't understand, it was things that they're more confident in.
I also like the hand thing.
I like this.
The fist to five, the fist to five. Didn't understand, and then you could teach it, and you have a general understanding, okay understanding. I thought that was nice.
All right, how about tool feedback? Any suggestions, observations?
I actually was wondering about the groups, because I feel like right when you broke the groups up and then you kind of moved some kids, you pulled some kids up, and I was just wondering if you ever thought about maybe having the groups made prior to beginning to almost give like the higher and the lower learner an opportunity to work together. And then did you also think about allowing students to model their own experiment, like a parallel task from the gummy bears as like an extension?
I like the idea of the modeling their own experiment. And then also for the difficult stations like station 11, maybe you considered sort of either giving them sort of more structured guidance at it, so you don't sort of spend time discussing it at the beginning before they get to it, either sort of like support there, or just sort of letting them at it and then revisiting that in the lesson closure. Sort of the station 11, it was sort of difficult. What did you see there? So not loading them with the idea that it's a difficult station.
Yeah, same thing. That's the one thing I did notice. Is you told them that it was going to be difficult, so I don't know if that was a self-fulfilling prophecy and that it became difficult. And granted, it's nice to give them an idea, but maybe structuring that one in a different way, or maybe splitting it up into something just to let them figure out if it's difficult or not, and maybe provide them alternatives. I think that was
I wonder, did you ever consider, prior to sending them to the stations, giving them an example on the board of something that would be very easy to understand for them? For example, 2 + 2 = 4. What's your understanding of that? Well, that would be a 5. Okay, and then write something in Greek. What would be your understanding of that? That would be a 0. Just so they could sort of gauge their understanding. Just something really minor. Stations, what I do with, have you ever considered using a big station number, a clear plastic frame, number the stations? More of a visual. Okay, would anyone, does anyone have any other questions? Oh, the question, do you have any questions or clarification for Jenna?
Do you and your co-teacher have planning time together? I'm just wondering in terms of management. And
Yeah, we do. We have a prep. We have one prep every day, and then a prep every once in a while when we don't have a team planning.
And do you teach all day together?
5 classes.
5.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Questions, did their rating sheets provide you with good feedback to help you teach?
To be honest, I didn't collect them. It was more for themselves. What we did look at was the quizzes, and how well they did.
how long have you been teaching with the same coach?
My second year.
I must have missed station 5, but I can see some of them are based on this whole station 5.
Let me see.
Because it's like some of them I get, but some of them it's blank.
Oh, it's blank on the what, on the
Oh, yeah.
website?
Yeah, oh, sorry, you had that PowerPoint as well.
Yeah, I
PowerPoint
included-
the stations?
Yeah, so that's what was on the screen that you guys couldn't see, for some reason the video, like, it looked like it was
Yeah.
white,
Okay,
but while we were reviewing and doing the wrap-up,
so these were the actual stations.
they were the written forms, like, so some things, like, if it was a question about the tea bag, they had a tea, a cup of
Right.
tea, and if it was a model, there was a model there,
Got it. So I complete the flow chart, there was something on,
it was a flow chart.
right,
Let's see. And it says it was blank on the PowerPoint, it was like filled in, so it was station 1, 2, it had the number at the station. So station 5 was in the model, which has a permeable membrane down the middle, how many molecules or purple balls about to move across to reach equilibrium, so it was like a giant cylinder.
Oh, the 6 and the 2.
Yeah, so there was, 4 on one side and 6 on the other, purple balls, and then like a mesh in the middle. So one would have to move over, so it would be 4 and 4, or 3 and 3,
got it.
whatever it was.
Okay, now we're gonna spend some time thinking about how the research article is connected to this lesson, so we're all gonna comment on that. Did the lesson implement the research from the course of study? How does the research help the group answer the pre-observation questions? How can the research inform the lesson computing? So we're gonna be thinking about the article now and how it relates to Jen's lesson.
The article mentioned as one of the techniques, one of the effective next move strategies, I think they called it, and posting, I forget how they worded it, and I don't have it in front of me, but using
Public posters.
the public posters and having the kids go up there with Post-it notes was really fitting with one of the strategies from the article we were trying to get at. So I think in that sense you did, you were showing at what the article was saying were one of the effective strategies.
And also obviously going around the questioning, the feedback, the one-on-one interaction you had with the students to kind of build and pull from them. You know, it's like, it was clear when there was a student on your questioning techniques with how much support they needed
Yeah.
or prompting they needed to be successful at that station.
Melanie Alberto to the main office. Melanie Alberto to the main office.
It happens.
Did it always make that beeping noise?
Yep. Every time.
It's a weird little.
Yeah.
So I thought that it was interesting now that I know the breakdown of the class a little bit clearer. I mean, it's clear to me why you asked and prompted some children in one way and other students in another way.
And I like how your students, looking back at the instructional strategies, one of the things they have is reflect with students on what they've learned, and doing that 5, and even on the sheet, I think you had it on the sheet as well. On the sheet, it had them rate their own understanding of it.
Yeah.
So that is, that definitely fits in with what's part of what we've been talking about, so the rating.
I was gonna say those 2 points that the questioning, to have them dig a little deeper was good, and also the metacognition, having the right mind. They were referred to in the article. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I tried really hard with the questioning, because there are times when you feel rushed for time that you kind of just want to help them get to the answers so you can get through the instruction and get through the stations or wrap things up quickly. But I tried to force myself to dig a little deeper for the questions, so it's a conscious effort to try to question them like that. That's what I was trying for.
Great. Okay, now we're gonna look at some student work and see how it relates to the research article. All right, so let's look at some student work.
So here are 2 examples of like their note packet that I gave them